Welcome back, guys. Episode 3 of Community Builders, of the Community Builders podcast, the community podcast where we believe that community building is the best business model for your soul. Today with us, we have Nemz, or would you prefer Nemz or would you prefer Naeem?
Yeah, so my real name is Naeem, but all of my friends in school used to call me Nemz, Nemi, so they would abbreviate it to Nemz. So yeah, it's just stuck ever since. So I don't mind.
Amazing. I'm going to call you Nemz because I always call you Nemz. Nemz runs a community called BCN Creators, but he's also a bit of a community cowboy in general. He leads GDM, so Guides Mierda, my community. He leads that in Barcelona. He's been doing so for about 3-4 months sort of thing. In that time, we've had about one event every single month. And he's a man about town. He makes content. This is why we started working together with Guides Mierda, for example. You make content. He also does confidence coaching as well. So he works with people on how to grow their confidence. And why I thought this would be a really interesting podcast today, apart from the BCN creators and learning about that a little bit more, is a lot of the people that I speak to, a lot of the people in the Community Builders first cohort, for example, their problem is they just don't want to be on camera, and they're asking how they can build an audience without being on camera. Now, my advice is always just get on camera. We can get to that later on. Firstly, Nemz, I want to welcome you to the podcast. I want to, and if you could just introduce yourself a little bit more, because I know that I've tried my hardest, but I think you'll do a better job.
Yeah, thank you for the warm introduction, Tom. Really appreciate it. So yeah, my name is Nemz, Naeem. I've been living in Barcelona 7 years now. Originally from London, South London. So shout out to anyone from South London, that's for you. But yeah, it's been, what a journey. What a journey it's been. It's been a beautiful, wild, chaotic, confusing, beautiful journey since I've come to Barcelona. I was very fortunate, I think just like yourself. How long have you been in Madrid?
Almost 10 years.
10 years. Okay, so yeah, we both came before Brexit, before COVID, before all of the chaos happened. So very fortunate in that sense. I didn't have to go through the egregious sort of paperwork that everybody has to go through now. So really happy to be here in Barcelona. But one thing for me that was, I think one thing that was missing was that sense of community. I'm a big family man. You know, I come from a large family, of course, had a lot of love from friends back home as well. But when I moved to Barcelona, within the first couple of years, I was very fortunate to move out with one of my best friends, Mike. But when we did move out here, you know, we didn't, naturally, as all sort of giddies will know that sort of similar process and journey themselves it's lonely, you know, it's super lonely, dude. I'm sure you went through your own sort of journey yourself. And so I think that's why it was so important for me to find a sense of community, to find a sense of belonging here in Barcelona. That kind of led me down the route as to why we started BCN Creators. So we started BCN Creators because, not just because of a sense of a loss of community. Sorry.
Let's go back a bit first. So cheers for that. I think it's important to kind of set the scene a little bit more. So you run a community called BCN Creators. So let's firstly start with let's first start with what is it, you know?
Yeah, thank you. So BCN Creators is essentially a community for just creative people in general in Barcelona. And so at the moment it's just Barcelona based, with the intention to go worldwide. But our motto is connect, create, connect, collaborate. You know, we want to be able to connect with creative people and be able to collaborate on projects together, and to also offer those sort of services to brands, businesses, companies, whoever that is looking for videographers, models, actors, singers. Like, it's such a diverse community. It's really beautiful in that sense. But yeah.
And so you were going into the origin story a little bit. I love the ethos. I remember when we first met on a run with Rodeo Run Club. I need to get those guys. Well, actually, 100%. That'd be good too, because they're doing super interesting stuff. And so I believe that you were involved with Rodeo as well at the start. Does that play into the origin of BCN Creators? Or wait, hold on, before we answer that. So Rodeo Run Club is just a big run club, and quite a successful run club in Barcelona for anyone that doesn't know that's listening. And so when I went to Barcelona to do our Giddies events last year, I went running with my friend. One of my friends was like, come along to this run club. And then on that run, we ended up chatting. Has you seen my content at that point or no?
Have I? Did I see your content? Yeah, for sure.
So we started chatting
Yeah.
on the run, connected, and then ever since then, I was inviting you to Giddy's events and that sort of stuff. But you were involved with rodeo or no?
Yeah, so at the beginning, so one of my good friends, Piers, he's
Yeah.
actually one of the guys that I started BCN Creators with. Him and his team started rodeo, but of course at the beginning it was just like a couple of guys just going for a run in the hills. I would join them, and I remember one time, I think it was like the third one or something, and it was literally just me and one of the co-founders, Liam, and we just went for a run, and he told me, and it was looking. It almost gives me goosebumps because I'm so proud of him, man. Like am I allowed to swear on here?
Anything, mate.
Like I'm so fucking proud of him, because Liam was telling me about all of his goals and ambitions for rodeo, and where they wanted to take it and what he had in mind and what was the interesting part was the steps that he told me that he was going to take to get to the level that they want. And there's still loads of steps to go to that process. I think any entrepreneur will know, like it doesn't just happen overnight. There's so many steps and so many things that have to happen in order for a business to be so successful. Yeah, everything he said that was going to happen has happened, which is fantastic. And I think it's really, the energy is oozing, not just off of them, but from yourself as well. I remember when we went on that run, just like talking to you, I'd been following your content, but then to like be running side by side with you and hearing your thoughts and you'd hear my thoughts, and it was very aligned. But one of the best things about being around yourself, and even Mike as well, because Mike's in a similar agency setup as myself, it's always good to just be picking at people's brains to see what their opinions are, what their thoughts are, how they would go about certain processes. And honestly, dude, you've been such a help so far since like we've been connected. There's so many things that and look, I'm not just saying this because we're on this podcast and it's going to
Yeah.
make you look shiny and whatever
Oh,
else.
let me cut the recording.
Yeah, he's got to clip this. But dude, honestly, you've been such a help, man. And it's weird when people that I don't know if this is the right moment to kind of slip into this conversation, but
Really?
I've been coaching confidence, like content confidence to people. And it's weird when you give people feedback, constructive feedback, whether it's like aggressive and you're just like, dude, you got to do this, or
Yeah.
if it's like from a soft sort of laid back position where you're just like,
Mhm.
I would say that you should probably do this and this might work for you,
Yeah.
and I think you're very good at that. You can put the hard hat on and be like, grow up here and just fucking
Yeah.
do it, or you can be like, in my opinion, from my experience, I think this might be the best way,
Okay, fair.
So
It's interesting to hear from another perspective because, I mean, we've had a lot of conversations about content and that sort of stuff at this point. And
Mm.
yeah, it's interesting to hear from the other side because for me, I think it's just something that kind of comes naturally just from conversating with people. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I'm like, fuck, dude, you just got to do it. And if there's something that's not so obvious, I'm like, just do it and just do it, and you'll be happy you did it. And then I
Yeah.
guess sometimes some people or some occasions need for the softer hand, and that's just it. But I'm conscious that we're getting a bit off the track, so let's get back onto the origin story of BCN Creators. So you were saying you and Piers started it initially. So where did that come from? Like, what was the need?
Yes, thank you. So it started off with Piers and my other friend Yupi,
Yeah,
Joachim. Essentially, like we were just meeting up and we was taking videos with each other, and just as content creators do. And one of the things that we all kind of agreed on was that I've stayed in Los Angeles for a little bit. I come from London, born and raised. And it was always very easy for me to like connect with creatives, and as you know, being around creative people, one thing leads to another, and you meet at a coffee spot, but then you end up in some underground basement party. When I was in Los Angeles, I was in Hollywood. I ended up in one part of downtown LA to one part of Hollywood, and you're in all of these sort of crazy parties and places.
I have my beer and I go home early.
Yeah, all right. But
Right.
yeah, it's like it's very easy to connect with people and collaborate as well. That's like one of the most important things. And a sense of that for us was missing in Barcelona. Like it's been missing for a very long time. And what's interesting since we started BCN Creators was that this seems to be a thing. Like, I don't know what it's like in Madrid, but I know in Barcelona, it doesn't, maybe we was never invited to the parties. So, we were just like, okay, cool, fuck it. We'll make our own one, man. Right. And so we did, we made our own community. It started off small, But one thing changed it all. So basically we do events, meetups and workshops, right? And everything is in the sense that we want to be able to provide the most amount of value and education to creative people and to just get better. We wanted to be around, like, I wanted to be in the same room as yourself, you know,
Yeah.
someone that's been so successful in content creation. I want to be in the same room with you and pick at your brains and understand, like, how did you get to that level? What were the steps that you took to get there? And on that journey, we found that we was becoming those people that others wanted to learn from us, but we was always still in that game of learning from others. And we wanted to
Yeah.
create an atmosphere where it was just all about learning, all about progression, all about connecting, collaborating, creating with each other. But when we started it, we first ever workshop that we done, a guy by the name of Steve One with WON, he reached out to us and he saw my video and was like, "Hey man, I saw that you're going to be doing workshops. I would love to put my name in the hat. You know, I'm kind of struggling with confidence, funny enough." So it started at the beginning where he was just like, I'm not a shy person, but like being a public speaking and all of that, like it kind of haunts me a little bit. So I want to get myself out there a little bit. And so in my mind, you know, the way he was talking, the language that he was using, I just thought, okay, this is just some guy that, you know, he's done a few bits and bobs and he's going to do his thing. And he done the workshop. He done,
Why is that? Because he seemed underconfident, basically.
yeah, like his lack of confidence
Yeah, yeah.
made me think that he was just,
Take him seriously.
yeah, you know, and anyway, we just wanted to give anyone the opportunity to do so, right? So we did, and he done his thing, and it was fantastic. He smashed it out of the park. He done such a beautiful job at teaching people, and you know, there's about 10 of us in the room. One of the guys comes up to me, my
Okay.
friend Ricardo.
Sorry.
Please.
I just want to kind of, because I think what's really interesting for your story specifically is like you
Yeah.
said. So if we go back just a little bit, it's like from what I think is interesting with you is like how did you go from 0 to 1? So how did you go in this first event? How did you even get 10 people in the room? You know what I mean? Like, because a lot of people, I think what's interesting for a lot of people that will be watching this is they might not have launched their first event before, and the big
Mm,
fear is how do they put themselves out there and
mm,
potentially face the possibility of rejection, saying,
yeah.
"Look, this is my thing. I want to plan this event or I've planned this workshop like you did." How do you expect people to come? How did you get those 10 people in the room?
Yeah, that's a great question and great, like, nice one for circling that back actually, because so I was very fortunate in the fact that my friend Piers and my friend Yupi, they were amazing videographers and editors, right? And they were just starting off. So taking it all the way back to the beginning again, Piers literally just bought a camera. Yupi literally just started editing. And the reason why we started BCN Creators was so that them two could meet other video makers and editors and learn from them, right? But we was all starting off. I've been creating content for a very long time, but again, I wanted to learn from people like yourself. So we wanted to educate ourselves. And within our first ever video that we made, it was actually like surprisingly really good quality. Like the boys done such a fantastic job at making. So if you check out the BCN Creators page, you'll see our first, it's pinned at the top. And then it's just basically saying, welcome to the community.
Is it
And
the one where you're
these,
like speaking up to the camera?
yeah, well, I'm just like, look, I'm getting like 4 views. 2 of them are my parents, and 2 of them are my friends, which was literally the case.
But the camera's like down on you, right? Is that the video?
Yeah, exactly that. It was from like a fisheye lens as well. It was really cool. But yeah, so the video itself was like super good quality. And look, this isn't, I think me and you have spoken about this before. It's like, it doesn't have to be the highest standard of quality. You just need to fucking do it. You just need to move and you just need to make shit happen. My favorite slogan right now in my life is slow feet, don't eat. Slow feet, don't eat.
And actually, it's interesting just to grow on that point that you were just saying as well.
Yeah.
So I believe in that 100%. Obviously, there's a place for high quality content because like some brands always want high quality content, so there's a place for
Yeah,
it. But
for
for
sure.
me, what I've found way more easy to put out, firstly, and way more interesting is just kind of like this. You pick up the camera, you film like a certain idea that you've got. I mean, have the idea and then think of a good hook that will actually get people hooked onto that idea, and then think of the resolution. But in between that, you just kind of speak to the camera and just freestyle a little bit.
Yeah.
One is that the idea is way more important than the packaging, in my opinion. I've got a video that's probably responsible for like literally half of all my followers on social media, and
Mm,
it's responsible for half of my followers because I've posted it so many times. And what's important about that is every time I post it, I change the visuals. I've posted it in carousel format, and every single
mm,
time it pops off, and it's because the idea is what's consistent
yeah,
throughout it, and the
it's the
idea is what
message.
either connect with or they disagree with. And it shows me
Mm,
that it's like the packaging isn't as important. Of course, it has a place, but the
mm.
idea is what really makes a video pop off.
100%. I 100% agree. Yeah, I mean, within this video that we made, again, it was like, sure, the quality was very decent, but the message was that we missed out. We're missing a community. We want to build one.
Yeah.
Be a part of our community. So
So
for
this is how
anyone
you
that
got the
is,
10 people in the room. This is so you made this video.
yes,
Okay. So
yeah,
yes, you made the video and you're saying,
yeah.
hey, we want to build a community for creative people. Then what?
Yeah, yeah. So funny enough, I think maybe two people I knew, two people, peers knew, and two people you knew, but the others were like strangers actually.
Yeah.
And so they they joined the workshop, and yes, Ricardo comes up to me, this Italian guy, fantastic videographer, by the way. I actually done an interview with him. And he comes up to me, he shakes my hand, and he's just like, bro, I've got some questions for you. I'm like, sure, shoot. He's just like, first of all, how did you get this guy in? And I was just like, what? It was like, second of all, like, why are you not charging for this? Me and my community of like directors, video makers, whatever, we'd be more than happy to pay like a ridiculous amount of money just to be in the same room as this person. And it got me thinking. I was just like, I looked at Steve. I was like, Steve, who are you, bro? I was like, who is this guy? That's my lack of awareness. I probably should have known a lot more. Asked all of his stuff. So Steve one is like a top director, man. He's worked with big brands such as Red Bull or
I really will.
Red Bull, and yeah, like you should definitely check out his page. Does the most amazing sort of in-depth, beautiful sort of cinematic work. And Steve done it because he wanted to battle his fear of, his confidence issue and like being in front of doing public speaking and being in front of
Yeah. Yeah.
people. And I was just like, bro, you've got such a beautiful gift. You should be telling the whole world about this, But yeah, Ricardo was so shocked, and he was just like, I'm definitely gonna like this. Yeah, I'm in. I'm in with this community. So
Yeah.
it's all about finding value for people. What is that ultimate value package that you can offer people, right? So if you're building a community,
Mhm.
why are you building it? Like, I'm not saying every community has to be so different, but it's like, what is the difference of your community? Why are you starting it, right? And what is that going to bring to people? Have
Yes.
you got
So
questions?
yeah. So what I'm getting from that is, so you got your first room of 10 people. You did two things. One, you made a video,
Mm,
which is what I tell everyone to do. It's like put yourself out
yeah,
there, tell people what you're doing, use your own network. You used your own network as well. You said it was 2 friends from you, 2 friends from peers, and 2 friends from whatever, and then a couple of
yeah,
randoms. Perfect.
yeah,
That's already a
yeah.
success. And then you also leveraged Steve One. Well, you didn't leverage him as well as you could have done, apparently. If he was like, I've never heard of him either, but I'm not super dug into like the creators and
Yeah,
directors and stuff. But that's the thing, like there's always these people are always going to have their own audiences as well that maybe they can help you with. You can leverage their audience to bring them
yeah,
along as well. So that's quite a good
for sure.
hack, or it's quite a good shortcut. Let's say if you
Mm,
if people aren't going to come for you or your concept, it could be interesting to collaborate with someone. Last night, for
for
example,
sure.
with Giddies, we had a
Oh,
network.
yeah.
It was about AI. And so we had a speaker that came on and gave us a talk about AI, where she helps. Her kind of speciality, I guess, is to take startups from like pre-seed or from pre-raising to their Series
Mm,
1 round. I'm not really clued into
yeah.
the technical language of raising
Yes.
capital, but
Yeah.
we have her in, and so she also her expertise brings her own audience. Obviously, Giddies, we've
Mm,
already built an audience now, but
mm,
what Giddies does is we do more social stuff, So we're trying to move more in, at least in Madrid, we're moving more into that professional space as well.
mm,
Because as I mature as a creator, as a person, even as I mature,
yeah.
I also want my community to mature as well. I love going out. Everyone that knows me personally knows I fucking love a beer. But I also, as I get older as well, I also love the idea of, okay, how can I leverage what I've built now? And how can the community grow with me, And that's what's amazing about a community. It's kind of like having a personal brand. It's so
Mm,
intrinsically linked into having like community is so intrinsically linked into your personal brand, or it's like a
mm,
personal brand, because
for sure.
With a personal brand, if you get into horseback riding, you get into sewing, you get into whatever, you can incorporate that into your content. And it's the exact
For
same with the
sure.
community. Now I'm like having more success on the business side of things, or at least I'm more focused on the business side of things. I can think, okay,
Mm,
how can we leverage the community and do more of that as well? And it all just kind of works together. It's this flywheel that just keeps on working, which is why I love the community. I think it's so powerful. If you can get
mm.
10 people in a room, that's great. If you can get 100 people in a room, think about that. 100 people
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
physically
yeah,
in the room. It's
yeah,
pretty powerful. And if you can figure out how to leverage that properly, like for you, for example, how you can leverage that and how you can capture those people and convert them into maybe collaborators or into clients for your confidence course. I think
yeah,
that's like it's a really untapped way of. I mean, maybe it's untapped. I don't even know. For me, I've never tapped into that to its
yeah,
full potential yet.
yeah,
But that's why I'm excited about Giddies at the moment, because it can grow with
yeah,
you as you go on to the next thing, and as you mature, either professionally or whatever, or spiritually or however,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it changes with you, which is awesome.
Yeah, 100%. 100% agree with that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
so
sorry, what was you gonna say?
I'm just gonna carry on moving us through. So,
Yeah, sure.
okay, so that was one. That was event one. And so
Yep.
now I wanna know kind of like how it kind of progressed. Like, give
Uh,
me the version of, like, is Piers still involved? Is Uni, was her name Uni or
UP, yeah.
UP? So what
Yeah.
happened there?
Yeah, so unfortunately, like, well, fortunately enough for them, they had other projects going on. They had their 9 to 5s.
Yeah.
We was all working at that time, and it just became a bit of a strain, like on all of our lives, because they had rodeo and UP had something else going on, and I had like my own stuff going on. And so we was meeting up every single Saturday. We said we're going to meet up every single Saturday. We're going to film this footage and we're going to, put it out there on a Sunday. So every Sunday we would post. Obviously, it was very difficult because they not just had their jobs, but they had other side projects going on as well that
Yeah.
were picking up, rodeo. Like we'd go for, it was that sort
Rodeo
of thing where
loaded,
we'd
right?
go, yeah, literally like we'd be running every single Saturday and then straight away go to Piers' place, we'd film and then, then UP would edit, and it was just becoming a bit of a constraint on everyone.
Yeah.
And so the boys were like, look, Nemz, we're gonna have to come out and just like, yeah. So it kind of fell on my lap, and I was essentially like, we all had our sort of parts to play, and I was essentially just the guy on camera, and just like I was involved in all the community. I was in charge of the socials, so I was like reaching out to people, anyone that followed us. I would like, really take my time to like look through their profile. And so this is another bit of advice for people that's maybe growing a community. Like, actually take the time to research these people that not just following, but they're not just following you for a reason. Like they are following you for a reason, but it's like, who are they? What do they do? What do they like? What can they essentially bring to your community? How can they add value as well? And so I'd be replying back to comments, always like looking at people's profiles and seeing, is there any room for collaboration there or anything? And can we
Mhm.
bring them into our community, and what value can that bring to them? And so we started doing more social events, just like meetups, just like the first ever one that we
To
done
meet
was
other
literally just like,
creators, basically, to meet other people who are that's the what's the prerequisite, like, when you say to bring them into the community, what do they have to be in BCN Creators? And how does someone join BCN, or how do they join BCN Creators?
yeah, so at the beginning, it was a little bit messy because we didn't really know what exactly we wanted, and where were the lines. We didn't know what the lines were, like
Mhm.
who we allowed in and who not to. So it was a thing of just like kind of friends at the beginning, but you had to be a creative of some sort, right? And that stands till this day. It doesn't matter if you're into sewing and you create content about sewing or knitting. Doesn't matter if you're a horse rider, but you make content about being a horse rider. Doesn't matter if you're a fashionista, an artist, like a painter, a musician, a singer, or a dancer. What it is that I started to realize that we could utilize other people's talents altogether. So example, so somebody came to us, like a good friend of mine, Mars, who was like, dude, I really want to do like a music video, man. I've got all of these amazing tracks I want to do a music video for. I've got one in particular in mind. Just, I don't know how to connect with people. I don't know the right people. He was like, "Bet, say no more, bro. Like, we've got you. We're going to put something together. We've got, you know, film directors. We got post-production, editors, lights, literally had lighting people, editors. We had everything to put this project together, and we did, and we were able to create this really beautiful sort of piece for Mars and his music profile. But then we started to realize that, okay, cool, maybe we can start doing this for brands, businesses,
Because
and
this was
anyone
free.
that's
You were
looking.
doing this for free for him, for example.
Yeah. And so within the community, the idea was, if you're in the community, you should be able to help somebody, like, for example, say yourself, you told me, hey, come out to the next Kiddies Dinner, the event, don't worry, like, just come through, and maybe even if you make a video, that would be cool. I was like, sure. Okay, cool. So it like works both ways,
Yeah.
And we just wanted somewhere where different types of people could collaborate together. Example
Mhm.
sake, a photographer is, in need of a model or someone.
Yeah.
And we'll just put it in the group chat. Hey guys, need a model for today, doing a photo shoot. You know what? The photos will be free of charge from us, and we just need someone. And so for the model, that's good. You get some profile pictures for your portfolio. For
Sure.
the photographer, they get their model. And so there's so many different angles, and because there's such a there's so many different angles that we can utilize. So when a brand or business reaches out to us, and they have their specific sort of tasks or need or requirements, or we're able to deliver on those projects, because
Yeah.
there's such a pool of talent. Just like,
Yeah.
cool, who do you need? You tell us, and we will be able to find you anyone,
Mhm.
everyone and anyone. And so yeah, it's just been growing ever since. And for selecting now, I need to be a little bit more, I need to be
Yeah. So
very sort of
the question is,
picky.
how does someone join? How does someone join BCN Creators? Like, what is there an onboarding process? Is there a selection process? Can anyone just be in, or is it like they just
Yeah.
click a button and they're in the WhatsApp, or what's the kind of the infrastructure that you have, like the digital infrastructure when someone
Yeah.
wants to?
Yeah. So now, the idea is that you either go on Instagram or on the website itself. So bcncreators.com.
Yeah.
You go on bcncreators.com and you go on our website, you scroll down to the bottom, and you see join as a creator or join as a brand. If you're joining as a brand, you're just inquiring about services and
Yeah.
just like fill in the whole form, and we be able to see how we can help. You join
Mhm.
as a creator. There are some requirements now. There's a way for me to kind of filter out who should be in the community. Look, one of the things is not just about you being a creative. You could be a creative. It's also about, like, I need to get a feel that you're gonna get on with the community. There are some profiles that I've taken a look at, and I'm just like, I don't know if they're gonna either add value or be a good addition to the team,
Yeah.
to the community. I love what we've built, and everyone gets along. And
Yeah.
you know, if anyone goes against the grain in the community, sometimes it's like it just leaves a bit of a bad taste with everyone, and like I can't afford for that to happen.
So it's almost this like it's almost hand selected basically. So it's like a
It is, yeah.
community of hand selected people that they've applied to join. You don't do any
Mhm.
outreach to people, right? People, or
No,
do you? No. The people apply to join,
I
and then at
haven't
the
in
end
the
you
past.
see if they're a fit. How do you see if someone's a good fit or not? Do you speak to them on the phone?
Yeah.
Like, what is the selection process?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, and it's not just me, there are others on the team. You kind of look at and review the profile. Yeah, you could be a photographer, an actor, model, whatever. Typically, I would look on the website, or if they have a portfolio, or on their Instagram profile,
Yeah.
and just see, like, who are you?
Yeah.
Who are you? What type of work have you done in the past? Does your work add value to our potential clients
Yeah.
and customers? How can we utilize your skills to then bring value to those people? But also, yeah, just like kind of checking out the profile page to see, like, could this person be a good fit? I
Mhm.
think it's more of a sense of just a feeling. Like, I
Yeah.
know that's a very particular way, but it's just the way I've done it from the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah.
And luckily enough, there have been decisions that I've like they're always tough decisions to make, but luckily enough, there's been decisions where I've like reviewed a profile, and I haven't, I've just got kind of a sense of it. I've rejected it, and then a story has come out in the future where I'm like, thank God I didn't let that person in.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. And so, yeah, definitely makes sense. I like it. With community, one of the things, I mean, we're going to do, I think later on, I said to you before we started recording, I'm going to talk to you about like what I would do with Barcelona, with BCN Creators, because I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
I really think that with BCN Creators, I know that you don't monetize it that much at the moment, right? You monetize it a little bit here and there, but it's not fully monetized.
So essentially, we've pivoted it into an agency-like model.
Yeah,
So we are an agency, and yeah, so like if I'm able to find an opportunity for one of the creators, there's an
yeah,
understanding of like commission rates and everything. But yeah, I'm pushing more portfolios and profiles out there
yeah.
for brands and
And so
businesses to be aware.
so people understand who are listening, when you say it's more like an agency model, so you've got the community of people, so you've got the talent pool, and then brands
Yes.
might come to you, or you might go to brands and try and find work, or they'll come to you with a project, and then
Yeah.
you'll go to the community and say and see who's good for this, or they'll apply, or how does that part work?
Yeah. So
You'll put a job in there, or how does that part work?
yeah, literally. So with the information provided by the brand or business, I'll then basically put in the requirements and deliverables expected and say,
Yeah,
hey guys, this is, big opportunity. Somebody's looking for this,
yeah,
this is the budget or look that they're going for. And I've heard this so many times from everyone. And I'm not just saying it, like it is one of the most active group chats there
yeah,
is. I'm a part of so many group chats, and most times the admin will just like pop in messages and just get completely ignored.
yeah,
But in this group chat, man, I've literally just got a message in there now.
yeah, yeah,
It's so active. People, it's not just me. It's literally not just me putting in opportunities. The creators are sometimes as well. Sometimes someone could get an opportunity that's not fit for them. I do it all the time myself. If there's something that's not fit for me, but could be fit for somebody else, I'll just chuck it in there. And then people would just pound it and be like, yeah, I'm interested. But yeah, typically I would put in this opportunity, take however many people are applying for it, and
yeah.
then see who's best fit for the specific requirements and needs of the client.
And how do you do? Because on the Community Builders podcast, we like to talk money as well. So, like in
Yeah.
terms of the actual business model behind it. So, how do you do? How do you kind of quote? So, like that brand that comes to you, then will you quote them a price, or they tell you their budget, and then you'll renegotiate, or you'll go to? Like, how does that all part work? Because
Yeah.
you got a lot of different. Like with me, for example, it's easy because I'm not a one person business, but basically a one person business. If somebody wants a video from me on social media, I'm like, boom, I can lick my finger, put it in the air, be like, how big is this company? Or I just
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
overquote, or not overquote, but quote high because I know they're going to try and negotiate me down. And
Yeah.
also, you've got, I mean, when you work for yourself, you got to quote high. You know what I mean? The money's out there. It's kind of for you to kind of grab it and just like
Mm,
if you believe that you deserve it. And I do. I've spent like
mm,
years building my personal brand, so I'm not going to make a
mm.
video for a brand that I don't align with or that's not going to pay me. You know what I mean? So it's just
Exactly.
that's the way it goes. But so for you, for
Mm,
example, I don't know. For me, it's very easy because I'm just like, okay, only me.
yeah.
I don't have to think about other people's rent. I have to think about, you know what I mean? I'm not
Exactly.
worried.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't have to consult the team. But for you, how does that work?
Yeah. Honestly, it's one of the most difficult things ever. This is the kind of stressful part about like jumping into this industry, and so like almost going all the way back to what we were talking about before about just doing it.
Yeah,
I've had to just do it, man. I never expected to be a talent manager or a founder of an agency. I never expected none of this. I've done no preparation in my life to be where I am now. I'm in this position now, and I've had to like just learn as much as possible, whether it's watching YouTube, talking to ChatGPT every single day.
yeah,
But to get to the actual point is that every inquiry is always going to be different, of course, right?
yeah,
Every inquiry is different to the previous ones, but also so is the talent and so is the requirements of that talent. Example sake, one day I could get an inquiry for
yeah,
somebody needs a model, and I said, okay, cool. We've got models in the group chat.
yeah,
Tell me your requirements. Who are you looking for? But most of all, tell me, are you looking for somebody that's at a sort of beginner level, medium sort of level, or like you want, a top model, right? Who are
yeah.
you looking for? And they'll say their requirements and whatever else. And so I have to then understand from the models that I've found within the community, what are your price ranges? What do you
Yeah.
typically charge, etc. Same as
Uh-huh.
videographers and editors and photographers. Like it's so difficult because there's so many different levels of experience,
Yeah.
just like me and yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've been doing it a long time. I've also been doing it a long time, but you've got 100K followers. I've got almost 2K, whatever. But also the level of your the quality of your videos in comparison to mine, but also the experience you have
Yeah.
working with brands in comparison to the experience that I have, you know,
Mhm.
are going to be far different. So let's say if we had a talent manager and somebody said to them, hey, yeah, looking for content creators who can, that are community leaders, who can you pick? And our talent manager says, oh my God, perfect. I've got Nemz and I've got Tom, but Nemz charges X amount and Tom charges like this crazy
Mhm.
amount. But, you know, this is what you're going to get out of Tom and this is what you're going to get out of Nemz.
Yeah.
So when I'm having these conversations with potential clients, that's why we've got the website. That's why I
Yeah.
tell people, like, go on the website, join as a brand,
Yeah.
inquire, fill in the form, and like, it's really in depth. Like, I need to know exactly who you're looking for,
Yeah.
why you're looking for them, what you want, what are the deliverables, what are the requirements, what is your budget? But the
Yeah.
budget is the most important question that I always ask them. What is your budget? Let's see what we can work with. And that makes it easier for me to then like align with the creators and
Yeah.
bring the perfect person to them, because it's essentially, I'm tailor making, you know, the perfect portfolio for them to have.
Mhm.
Otherwise you're kind of shooting in the dark a little bit. But yeah, the prices can always differ. Let's say.
Okay, cool. And then yeah, that's just definitely a part of the community in general. So what I want to do is I want to go on to kind of like what I would do with BCN creators
Yeah.
if I was in your position, just based off what I've learned from other communities. You know, it's not necessarily what I
Yeah.
do with Giddies, because Giddies has its own way of working right now. But I don't think that after I've studied and spoke to other community leaders, and I've
Mm.
studied other community models of how they've started from day one,
Yeah.
this is what I think you should do with community builders. And I've just been kind
I'm
of
gonna
like
take
making notes
notes.
as you've been speaking.
Yeah.
So number one, just from what you said there, it seems like you need some sort of CRM. So
Yeah.
like all the talent that you have, like you
Yeah.
need, instead of like posting something in the group and being like, who wants to come up for this? You should have like everybody with their price ranges roughly, you know what I mean? And like with their profiles on your CRM. So you
Mm.
know, okay, this person charges this much, blah, blah, blah. That's
Mm.
number one.
Mm.
Number two, that isn't even what I've learned from other communities.
Which I have already, by the way.
You have
Just
a
put it out.
CRM.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, my bad.
Notion, and it's integrated with Tally Forms and
Okay, my
yeah,
bad, my
yeah,
bad.
yeah.
Okay, so
No, no, no,
that's
no worries, man.
amazing. Just the way you were
Yeah.
speaking about it, I didn't know if you had him or not. But okay, that's amazing.
It took a while to get there, but we got there in the end. Yeah.
Okay, amazing. That's really, really good. And then, and so the brands know, for example, when they come to your website and they fill in your form, do they
Mm.
know what to expect? Like, does BC Creators have its own visual identity, or do you know what I mean? Like,
Mm.
can somebody come to your website and say, "Oh, I know what I'm going to get from these," or is it more open? Because if people are confused, often they don't buy. You know what I mean?
For sure, for sure. And I think that's one of the issues that we're having at the moment, because
Okay.
when we first built the website was built to actually bring in creatives.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why, but like I didn't think
Brands.
that like brands about
Yeah.
businesses and everything. So it was built for creatives
Okay.
to like bring the creatives in. So when you actually look at the website, it's beautiful. Oh man, it's so beautiful. It was made by my girl Nelka. So shout
Yeah.
out to Nelka. She's done it for free as well, because she's a part of the community.
Love it.
And she wanted to give back in that sense. But when she done it, and with my instructions, you know, she done it in a sense that, yeah, it was just more so for creative people. So
Yeah. Yeah.
going to your question, like when brands look at it, it might be a little bit confusing, because they're like, at no point here is this appealing to me as a brand or business? Like, why is this appealing? It's only at the bottom when you join as a brand now.
So what you need is like
But
straight at the top, just give people I mean, like just because I used to be a UX
profiles and
designer.
everything, yeah.
So like,
Yeah,
well, yeah,
yeah,
so my UX designer hat goes on. What you need at the top is I am a brand or I'm a creative, you know, boom. And then just
yeah,
send people, and you can keep the website exactly the same for the creatives. If they're a creative, it's just like, it scrolls down to the next section. It's like, boom, you're a
yeah.
creative. If they're a brand, make a new website, Unlovable or whatever, and you can do it in like half an hour. And you can just like get your messaging right, and boom, you've got it. Just like match the style of my other website, but this is for
Yeah.
the brand side of things. So let's make it maybe a little bit different. So visually, it's distinct, but whatever. You can do that really quickly, so that's not even a problem. Move that, whatever that call to action is at the bottom, like I'm a brand, I'm a creator. Move it up to the top, just so it's the first thing people see. I would say, but I haven't seen the website, so I don't know exactly. But just from what you're telling me, that seems like a really fixable problem.
Yeah.
So that's number one thing that I do. You've already got the CRM, so amazing. Number three thing that I would do is a couple of things. So you know about Charisma Select in Barcelona, right?
Yeah.
Charisma.
Yeah.
Okay. So Charisma is an amazing example of a really good community. I think what you should do is a mixture. There's a community here in Madrid called Musa. It's a girls' community, and I've interviewed them for the podcast as well. They're our first podcast.
Mm,
Amazing story those guys have got. They've got
mm,
600 women paying like 20 or 30 a month. I don't know. I feed it out. It was 18 grand. They get 18 grand recurring revenue every month from their Musas. They call their community members the Musas.
mm,
You got to do that. What you're offering is like a premium service. And okay, so you have to reposition it a little bit, I would say, but
yeah.
it's like you're doing the selection process already right now. I would
Mm,
say like you do it like Musa do it, where they only open up, they make a little bit of hype around when they're accepting new members, and people have
mm,
to fill in a form, and it's like the Musas are proving to Musa, the
mm,
wannabe Musas are proving to the community that
mm,
they have what it takes to be there. You know what I mean?
mm,
So it kind
mm,
of flip the
mm,
model on its head, rather than being like, hey, come and
mm,
sign up for our community, which is kind of more what we do with
mm,
Giddies, to be honest. Like
mm,
everybody's welcome, blah blah blah, which isn't the best way. But
mm,
I've seen Musa, and the way they do it is super smart because they flip it around. They only accept a certain amount of people. They keep the scarcity high, and they only let people in every so often.
yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
how they get this like reoccurring revenue. And all the girls have to pay to be inside. So you can do
Yeah.
like everyone has to pay to be inside, and it's reoccurring. Like you've got to pay 20 a month, blah blah. What
Mm,
my other friend does, Louis Armstrong, he's got a different community called the Creator Club. And it's more of like an online. They have an in-person element as well. But what he does is he locks people in 3 months. Like, you're going to join, you have to make a 3-month commitment. Then you flip over onto monthly. So you know that anyone you convert for 3 months straight off. And they have to
mm,
kind of go through that onboarding flow to kind of get into the community. So that's a really
yeah.
interesting way as well. So Musa don't
Mm,
do that. Musa, I think you can just join for 1 month. I'm not sure.
mm,
And so
mm,
why this is interesting, and so that model there works quite well. Why it's interesting with
mm,
the Charisma Select, if you bring in a bit of the Charisma Select stuff, is because they
mm,
do super high ticket. I don't think you should do super high ticket. I mean, that is great, but I don't think it makes sense to super high ticket. But it's super high vetting, so that you
mm,
vet them really well. It's a really curated group of people. And I think the more
yeah.
curated your community is, the better, because the standards are going to be
Yeah.
higher, and then like the
Yeah.
work is going to be better at the end of the day. And it's
Yeah.
more valuable to people in the community if the standards are really high,
For
Don't
sure.
just let in the guy that's doing whatever,
Yeah.
because you
Yeah.
want the value of a community are the people you get access to in there as well. So that's
Yeah.
another one. And the other thing that I was going to say that I think you should do is what was it that Louis does? No, 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 no. There was another thing that I was going to say as well. That's probably good enough for now. So it's like,
Mm,
bet people strongly, make people pay. Ah, that was it. And so it's like, how do you make people flip from the free model what they have right now
yeah.
to paid? So obviously
Yeah.
you've got to demonstrate value. So what Musa did for 6 months, for the first 6 months of operating, they said it was
Mm,
free for the next 6 months, but they're going to be
mm,
swapping on X date to paid. So all of the Musas knew that they were participating for free. And then when it came down to it, they had like 200 and they converted like 60 or something in the end, 60 or 70. So they had like a
mhm,
33% conversion rate, which is really good to paid.
mm,
So they lost all the people that were never going to pay anyway. And they've just got now this
mm,
core group of fans who are like in. So I think you should do
yeah.
something like that. I think for the next 3 or 4 months, you should warn your group, be like, guys, we're flipping this over to a
Yeah.
paid community on this date. And it's like,
Yeah.
but for these 3 months now, you have to step it up. You have to make sure they're getting value, make sure there's jobs being posted, make sure you're
Mm,
doing, like, you're connecting with them every month and bringing in interesting people. And then
mm,
once that flips over to the paid model, once that flips over to the paid, even if you only capture like a smaller percentage, at least then you've got something to build on. You've got this little community and they're paying and it's reoccurring revenue. And then
mm,
it's people that are going to pay. It's people that are willing to. It's kind of your ideal customer anyway. It's creative
yeah.
people
Yeah.
that are also willing to pay to be in a creative community.
Yeah.
So that's my little brainstorming with that's what I would do if I was you. Because also with
Yeah. Yeah.
BCN Creators, it's amazing what you've created. But as you say, if it doesn't monetize that well at the moment, I think it's super. It's you've got freedom. With me
Mm,
with Giddies, I'm kind of operating from a place of like, it kind of works what I've got already. It does work. It could be improved because I see communities like Louis Armstrong's community or like Charisma Select's community, and they're all just going
mm,
high vetting, high ticket. Like
yeah.
high vetting, high ticket, and that's
Yeah.
awesome. On recurring revenue, it's like the way to go.
Yeah.
Like for me to change Giddies into that now, it's kind of not what the DNA of Giddies is. I think I'd have to change. I'd have to make something new, basically, and that's kind of what
Mm,
Community Builders is building towards as well. Building this community of
for sure.
people who are building community, so it's super
Yeah.
meta,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's like a higher value group of people in terms of like we're aligned professionally on what we want to do. like professionally and philosophically on like
Mm,
this
mm, mm.
business model where you're creating a business around your passion. So, what do you
Yeah.
think of my recommendations?
Yeah, so look, man, you're spot on. And it's interesting because I'm hearing this. I think this is the fourth time I've heard this within the space of a couple of weeks now. So I've got some top level creatives in the community. And so there's like a wide range of people in there. You know, you've got the people just starting off, whether they're creating content or getting into whatever industry, right? You got your middle tier, which is similar to myself. You know, we're doing all right, but you know, we're still learning. But then you've got like your sort of elite level sort of videographers, editors, travel content makers, whatever, right?
Yeah,
And the top tier, interestingly enough, are the ones saying, and you know, these guys that I'm listening to, even yourself, you know, you're, I would put you in that bracket, is that
thank you.
you're all saying the same thing is like, okay, I think we're ready. I think we're ready for that premium, you know,
Yeah,
BCN Creators Plus model now. That was what one of the guys said it, and I repeated it to somebody else, and I was like, yeah, I'd
yeah,
fucking pay for it because
exactly.
we went to rodeo not too long ago, and one of the guys met the other guy, and you know they connected, and they were just like, and you know combined they've got a ridiculous amount of following, but it's the people that they know as well. But I introduced them together, and the look on one of their faces, it was like, this is dope, man. Like you've done such a thank you. Like I've been wanting to meet this guy forever,
Yeah,
and you've just
exactly,
connected us, you know.
exactly.
And so there's value just in that alone,
Yeah.
connecting creative collaborators together, right? But
Look,
then the opportunities to find them.
sorry, sorry,
So
sorry. Carry on.
no, go on.
No, carry on, carry on. I interrupted you.
Opportunities I can then find those sort of creators
Yeah,
is even more likely than what I'm going to find the people at the sort of bottom level.
yeah,
And at the moment, it's like, but the reason why we started BCN Creators is because we wanted to give people like myself, you know, I consider myself at that bottom sort of level, you know, I didn't have a huge following. I didn't know if my content was that good. And so I would say I was actually starting off at that sort of bottom tier. And I wanted to be a part of a community where I could connect with these sort of people. So my heart always kind of like always goes to those types of people
yeah.
that are still trying, that are just like kind of experimenting and wanting to
Bro, maybe
learn.
there's a place for those people too, you know? So it's like about setting up a structure. So it's like
Yeah.
the big guys, not the big guys, but okay. So you said you put me in the tier of like the top tier, which thank you, by the way. I don't know if I am, I don't know if I'm not, but fair enough.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
definitely am making a living from social media. Yeah. So
Bottom
that's,
of the top tier. Yeah.
yeah, but on the top tier. Cheers, bro. Keep me humble. I like. But it's true. Like you can have this community, and what Musa do, for
Mm.
example, they have free taster sessions. So you can
Yeah.
have people come, and they don't have to be in the community. They can see the value that they might get from it. Or
Yeah.
I don't know, you can get creative with it. You can set up like mentor schemes within it. So it's like the big guys. Maybe they have three smaller guys who
Mm.
like maybe give them a little bit of work for free or something. I don't
Mm,
know, but in
mm.
exchange they get mentorship. I don't know. You'd have to be
Yeah.
creative on that front. But there's always going to be a place for those people. But the value where you're going to be monetizing are people who are making money. Like I would
Yeah.
pay for a community. I am in Louis Armstrong's community for the
Mhm.
Creative Club. Like you should look at Louis' community because it's full of interesting profiles, you know, and you should see how he markets it. And I mean, I wouldn't say join it, but I'd say at least, as in, I wouldn't say not join it either because I'm in it and I think it's amazing. I've
Yeah.
found loads of value from it. But I think for you, where you get the most value out of that is just looking to see how they do it. You know what I mean? The Creative Club.
Yeah.
See how he markets it, looking to see the like the process to how to get into it and all that sort of stuff. Because you could do
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
just boom for creative people in Barcelona or for creative people in general. His stuff isn't
Mm.
even it's not location locked, so he travels all the year. Thailand, Madrid. He's coming to Madrid next week. He goes all over the place. You know what I mean? And so he's just
Mm.
travels the world. He has his creative club. They do different meetups in different cities that he goes to because a lot of the people
Mm.
in his community are doing the same as him. They're just
Yeah.
fucking wherever they want in the world. Bunch of people
Yeah.
making
Yeah.
loads of money. Bunch of people
Yeah.
with their own working on personal brands. So for me, it's spot on basically, and I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
you could copy that model for sure, and just take it. Still a little bit of that, and still a little bit of the Musa magic as well.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
I think with those sort of things, you'd be good. But like, you got to target the people who are making money from content. Otherwise, you're not
Exactly.
really
Yeah.
like it's not gonna. You want people who are making money because that also builds the reputation of your community. It's actually people that are doing it. You know what I mean? Rather than people that
Mm.
are trying to do it. Better that way.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
you've
No.
definitely already
Thank.
got
I
people
mean,
in the community that are already doing it as well, you know? And if you do
for
it,
sure.
what we should do is we should do a Giddies event on one night and we should do a BCN Creators event on the other night. And if you want, I can
Yeah.
come and give like a free webinar. I'm sorry, a free like talk or something as a part of
For
like
sure.
a night. And we can do that for BCN Creators if you want, because that
Yeah.
might
Yeah. Yeah. No.
interest some
100%.
people. I don't know.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'd definitely be open to that. And yeah, thank you for the advice. Like for sure, it's something that's been on my mind a lot lately because, of course, I got bills to pay as well, and I've got a
Yeah,
life that I want to live. And you know, that entrepreneurial sort of spirit is just like pushing me to do things. So,
yeah.
so getting this sort of feedback is always top advice.
No worries, bro.
And so yeah, like I've heard this from many creators, and they're all saying the same thing. Look, if you are able to come up with a way that makes sense for us to be able to pay for
Yeah,
this, for sure we want to support you.
there
No
you go.
matter how much it is, like
Well, you got to
we're
deliver
open to
value,
it,
man.
but
It's
it's
access to
definitely value proposition. And one of the
value.
three other things. So what we was doing last year, and this is what hurt me the most, is that I was doing all of these free events.
Yeah,
Every event for my community was for free. And that was for community building, for me to get to know people. And yeah, like I just wanted to be able to meet people as well. Like they're part of my community, but I haven't even met some of them. So
yeah,
I've done a load of events, a load of workshops, a load of like so many stuff,
yeah,
for people to find value. And and this year I've just like come with a totally pivoted my mind completely. And I'm just like,
yeah,
right, I need to eat. So, right,
yeah,
how can I best provide value through this community to the creators, and not just creators, but to brands and businesses? And how do we do this? And one of the things, well, everything that you just mentioned, you know,
yeah,
we want to do workshops, events, and all of that. Similar to Charisma, you know, you can go to the event, you know, anyone can buy a ticket and go to this event, but they've actually stopped this now, funny enough.
yeah. I don't
But
think they do it anymore.
originally, they don't do it anymore because they're going for more high ticket sort of leads and whatnot. I'm kind of taking a leaf out of the book a little bit, but it's like, sure, you can
Less
come to
happening.
the event, you pay for the event, but it's the ones who are paying monthly that you know, get it for free technically. So there will be exclusive sort of workshops and events, you know, for private creators. One of the things that I really want to do is do like creator houses. I want to like get a place in the hills somewhere. You know,
That'd be sick.
we rent a huge space sponsored by a brand. You know, it'd be so smart of a brand to like invest into this, where they sponsor everything. They have all of their branding all over the gaff. 20 of us, you know, creatives, videographers, editors, photographers, models, 10 creators, actors, whoever. There's a wide, diverse range of us in there. We all go to this house. It's almost like a content house, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
and we just, you
No,
know,
like,
we come up with ideas, we brainstorm. I know a lot of people are already doing this. You know, Connor Joss,
yeah,
out to Connor. I saw him in Bali or Thailand. He's already a part of these sort of communities where, you know, they're all on a similar wave. They sit at a table, they eat together, they think together,
yeah.
and they're just all moving forward. And that's all I want to do, man. I want to move forward. So
There we go.
yeah.
I think that's a good place to end it for now. Just before we end
So,
fully, I know that you touched briefly early on your confidence coaching. So, like, what's
yeah.
one tip? For example, as I said before, the people I speak to are often very scared to get in front of the camera. They're very
Yeah.
scared to like put themselves out there. So, what is one tip? Say someone that's at home right now, they're thinking they want to launch an event, or they want to do their first event, or they even want to just start building their personal brand. What is your one piece of advice for them, for that
Yeah.
person who's kind of scared at home listening to this?
Yeah. So I think it's a very easy thing to say, and everyone always says it. All the creators say it, and it is just do it, right? And going back to the slogan that I mentioned before, that is just ingrained in my head right now: slow feet don't eat. If you don't take the opportunity to do that idea, to create that video, to just make shit happen, somebody else will. Somebody else will. Like, your idea is not that special. Believe me, your idea is not actually that special. To you it is, but somebody else is probably thinking about it already, and they've already implemented it, or they're starting the stages of implementing that idea. If you're a content creator, or if you want to create content, there's millions of content creators out there. But guess what? There was a day where they just said, fuck it, I'm just going to do it. And I'm going to get on camera. And it's this, honestly, it can be very scary and overwhelming at times. You just have to do it. Just
Yeah.
do it, man. So yeah.
Okay, love it. Good place to end.
Yeah.
And now we're gonna do 3 quick
Sure.
fire questions. So, like, keep the answers
Oh, okay.
short-ish, like just short-ish.
Alright, cool.
This is for the Instagram potentially, if they're good.
Sure.
So, question number 1: if you could start BCN Creators again from day one, what would you do differently?
Tough question. Yeah, I would have set up the CRM. I would have done the forms differently. I would have done the application process very differently, on being more selective. I also probably would have done it as a paid community from the very beginning, because as you said earlier, it's very difficult to then like once it's through, it's very difficult to then pivot and
Can be done
go
though.
into a page.
Musa,
Can
Musa,
be
Musa.
done, and it will be done. It will
Yeah.
be done. So if any of my creators are watching, it will be done. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Cool. Can AI replace what you're doing?
Yeah, great question. It can and it can't. It can and it can't. The reason why AI cannot take the creative soul is because it has no soul to do certain things. It is at the moment, it is creating beautiful projects, and I love watching AI videos, by the way. Some of them are so dope. But one thing I will say is, if I knew that Picasso painted a picture and a robot painted exactly a replica, an exact replica, but Picasso signed at the bottom and said, "This is made by Picasso." For some reason, as a human being, I would just look at that and be like, I'd rather buy that. That's the real one.
But
That
what
was
if it
made by
becomes so
Picasso.
indistinguishable that we don't even know?
Yeah.
Crazy though. That's kind of like half the debate in a way as well. You know, it's like so indistinguishable, like the robot work. Yeah, actually, it's like objectively better. But anyway,
Yeah.
I agree in a sense. There's that classic thing. It's like no one's going to watch the 100-meter sprint between two robots, you know. But
Yeah.
like you want to watch
Yeah.
Usain Bolt versus
Yeah.
whoever. So it's like
We're
there
just,
is an element of that as
yeah.
well. There's always an element of like we're gonna watch humans doing impressive stuff. And also
Yeah.
human connection. Who knows? Maybe when there's these like sex robots and stuff, maybe we're gonna have crazy
Yeah.
connection with them. They're like they know our mind.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there's always going to be a space for like face to face. So
For sure. For
I
sure.
agree.
And
I think it can.
just to quickly chuck something in there,
Yeah.
one of you mentioned, oh, you should just use Lovable to design a website. And I remember last year when I was going through that whole process of making a website, one of my friends who's big into tech and AI, and we were just like, dude, just use Lovable and it'll do it within seconds. And it did. And then my girl Nelka, who was working on the website, she was putting her love, blood, sweat, and tears into this. And I said this to a potential client the other day, and I was just like, it's sick that I'm gonna have bragging rights in the future, being able to say that we was able to make this website made by a human being, and not like everyone else right now in the industry using AI technology to make all of their websites and designs and everything else.
I don't know,
It's
bro.
almost like a but yeah, it's like for us, it's almost bragging rights that we've got a beautiful community giving opportunities
Yeah.
to human creators. You know, that is gonna sit so deeply with us, and I think it's beautiful that that's our message out to the world.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
True. I think that now one of the things that people focus on, like for me, what I love Lovable is like the speed. So as I say, I used to be a web designer,
Yeah.
and like when I would design stuff, it would be like weeks before it was ever implemented. But now I can design
Mm.
and create it in the same hour, which is insane. So I love it
Yeah.
from the like how fast you can go from idea to production.
Mm.
It's super powerful, and that's why I love it. But of
We
course,
need
there's
to up
always
our game.
yeah.
So
But of
for
course,
cutting
there's
you.
always going to be room. I think there's always going to be room for people that want stuff made by humans. The reality is, we don't know. You know what I mean? We just don't know. And like, I think that right now, we've got a sweet spot of like the humans are kind of orchestrating the AI and stuff like that. But who knows how long that's going to be along for? There's definitely going to
Yeah.
be AI agents that orchestrate the AI better than we ever can as well. So I think our time is limited, but there's always going to
For
be.
sure.
Hopefully, there's always going to be room for humans somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, on that note, brother, thank you so much. I'm gonna
Thank
wrap
you
up
very
now.
much.
Wait, hold on. Let me get my little outro a little bit up. Yeah, but anyway, so I love this conversation because I thought like super real. It's exactly what I wanted. Super chatty. Like you're not
For sure.
at the point where you're like you're not at the point with BCN Creators where it's all figured out. Like some communities, for example, you're
Yeah.
still in that growing
Yeah.
phase. But I think what's important is you've taken the hardest step and you've started and you've done
For sure.
events. You've got people in the WhatsApp. You know what I mean? You kind of
Yeah.
you're proving to people that it's possible to do and to take those first steps, and it's okay to figure it out on the way.
Yeah.
If
For sure.
anyone's watching this and it's made you think, maybe I want to build a community, maybe communities for me. Well, that's where community builders come in. So I do group cohort coaching in my community builders. It's all the information is in the description of this video. And then I also do one-to-one coaching, personal brand, community building, that sort of stuff too. So Nemz, you've been a legend. See you
Thank
next
you.
time.
Before I let you go, I'm gonna have to take a little video as well.
Okay.
Peace.
Okay.